How's everybody? Good. We've had 5 practices now. We are making progress. This has been a great opportunity for a lot of young players. I think everybody knows we had 26 mid-year guys, plus we have a significant number of guys, that aren't participating in the spring due to injury, which, creates even more opportunity for those guys. And, we continue to try to coach everybody on the team, 1s and 3s, 2s and 4s on another field, so that everybody's getting coached, everybody's getting an opportunity. We got a long way to go. We got a lot of guys that, don't have a lot of confidence in what to do, don't have a lot of confidence in how to do it, and don't have a lot of understanding in why it's important to do it that way. But that's why we need to practice, and hopefully we can focus on what we need to do to develop and improve and not be so concerned about the outcome, that we have. So, I'm not pleased with where we are. I'm not disappointed in where we are. I think it's just a work in progress that we got to keep grinding through, each and every day. So, I wanted to mention something that probably doesn't mean a lot to people, but it means a lot to me, that, Mal Moore was really close, good friend, great supporter, really loved the University of Alabama, was here for a long, long time as a coach, as administrator, athletic director. Probably he was the biggest reason that, we came here, because of the relationship he developed with Miss Terry and us. And, I think it's been 10 years since he's been gone, and we certainly miss him. Can't tell you how many things that are great sort of lessons, and how much gratitude we have for the lessons that I learned from him and the things he did to help the program and help us get it turned around. So just a thought that everybody might say a prayer for Mal. There's things that happen in the world that, are very tragic. Obviously, the shootings in Nashville, very tragic situation. Horrifying that those types of things happen. Our thoughts and prayers are, with the families that lost loved ones, and, a lot of gratitude out for, the police and the public servants who, tried to control the situation and put themselves in harm's way to make sure that not more people got hurt. So, any questions?
Start up front here with Nick.
Yeah, as Jermaine Burton heads into his senior season, what are you looking from him to kind of take the next step in his game?
Well, I think what Jermaine needs to do is, he's got a lot of talent, a lot of ability. I think consistency in performance, which would come from, trusting and believing in doing the little things right, whether it's getting the right depth on a route, seeing the coverage as it is, just holding himself a little bit more accountable to paying attention to detail and doing the little things right. And when he does that, he's an outstanding player. He's got great ability, and hopefully if we can get him to do that, he'll be able to play with a little more consistency.
Middle here with Mike.
You've spoken about wanting more balance on offense. How much did you think you got away from that last year, and how much do you think Tommy can bring from Notre Dame philosophically that might help that?
Well, I think what we did last year is what we needed to do to try to win, so I'm not being critical of what we did last year. We didn't run the ball well enough last year, but we featured the players that we had. Bryce was an outstanding player, and we wanted to have him do what he could do. But I think if we have better balance, I think it'll take a little pressure off the quarterback. So I think the offensive line has done a good job so far. I like where we're heading and what we're doing. I think the scheme that we have to run the ball is well tied together. So hopefully between that and play action passes, we can make a few more explosive plays, not just rely on dropping back all the time. I think that would be very helpful.
Charlie?
You just mentioned the offensive line. With Darian Dalcourt coming back, you have 2 experienced centers. With it being the spring and you can kind of experiment a little bit, do you try to maybe get those guys on the field at the same time at all?
Yeah, Darian's playing center, playing guard, so we move guys around all the time, and we want to help them develop diversity to create value for themselves, but it also gives us flexibility in terms of getting the best players on the field when the fall comes.
A couple more, Mason.
Coach, obviously working with the recruiting part in the spring isn't new to you, but how do you balance going through the spring practices while working with, player visits and player evaluations?
It's just time management. We probably have, half a dozen guys or more at every practice, and try to spend the mornings on football. And I'll start at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and meet with recruits until the 2 o'clock meeting. And then I'm focused in again on football. And then the days we don't have practice, I make calls from 1 to 3, to recruits. And if some visit, I visit with them, during that time. And the coaches have those blocks of times when I'm recruiting, they're working on recruiting, whether it's player evaluations or not. Now, me personally, I usually take my little laptop home and evaluate probably 4 or 5 players every night. It doesn't take that long. If I don't have time to do it in a day, I just take the laptop home and do it at home. But we've already watched a lot of players, but we continue to watch as we get new information on guys when they go to combines and things like that. So the evaluation process is very important because we want to get as much information as we can on guys. So if they come here, it's a good fit for them and it's a good fit for us.
Finishing here with Chase.
Coach, have you got a favorite story about Coach Moore that you could share with us?
Yeah, I do. Mal used to always come in on Sunday when I'd be in the back room by myself watching film. And I usually go through the previous game with the coaches, which I watch it early in the morning. I go to church, I come in, watch it with the coaches, and I start on the other team. And at like every Sunday about 3 in the afternoon, he'd come in and, just sit down. And I was complaining to him about when Mark Ingram was here, his sophomore year, he carried the ball in the wrong arm a lot. But he was having a really, really good year, and we were having a good year. And I said something to Mal. I said, I don't know how we're going to get this guy to carry the ball in the right hand. And he said, when I was coaching the quarterbacks here, I forget the quarterback's name, he said, I told Coach Bryan, and it was a starting quarterback, and he was a good player, that if he did something different in his throwing motion, that it would really make him a better passer. And Coach Bryant looked at him and said, don't mess with the guy. So what Coach Moore was telling me is, don't mess with Mark Ingram. But he used to tell me stories like that about players all the time, from the past. So I enjoyed it so much, but I probably didn't tell the story very well, but it was a lesson learned that sometimes, really good players, they might not do things exactly like you want them to, but if they're productive, it's not worth changing them.
All right, Coach, thank you.
All right, thank you.